Damn.
Ah, man. Well, that was a very toxic joke.
You're welcome.
Jeez.
Talking about toxic.
Well, yeah, I mean, it reminds me of those stickers when you guys drive around. The ones where like, oh, tengo novia or novio tóxico.
Yeah.
And how popular that damn saying has been these past couple years, dude.
man.
I am
Has it?
sick of it,
Jeez.
man.
It's like the cool thing now, right?
Yeah, but what is what's a toxico or toxica? I feel like I'm an old head. I have no idea what it is. I don't know if you guys have any information on that.
Well, it seems like being toxico is now like it feels like it's being
translation.
associated.
It's toxic, by the way.
Yeah. Toxic.
If you can figure that out, come on.
No, it's like associated with being fun. Like, oh, if you're not a little toxic, you know, like
Yeah.
you're not.
But the
you know,
definition
fun.
of
but that's not the
toxic,
definition. But
yeah.
I'm saying like people like use that saying as a way to make a joke, like kind of out of the situation.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Is it a way of like masquerading bad behavior?
I think in a sense, yeah.
Making
But
it
then
seem
also,
cool?
yeah,
it's like a fetish too, though.
Yeah, people being attracted to toxic people, that for sure.
Oh, that's been for ages. Yeah.
It just wasn't cool that.
I know people. God, won't say names.
Nah, but yeah, I mean that word is being tossed around loosely. But the actual like definition of it can be pretty much just harmful behavior.
Yeah.
Harmful behavior and attitude that impacts negatively others, yourself, and other people's mental well-being.
Damn.
Yeah. You really want to, you know.
That was a
bring it
deep
down.
interpretation of it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's what they're referring to
Yeah.
when you know they put the stickers. But to me, it's like when I read those stickers, right? Tengo novia toxica. 'Cause I see that more than tengo novio toxica.
Yeah.
Tóxico. When I see tengo novia toxica, three things come to mind. That I'm like, okay, I don't know what's more toxic. That sticker, that saying, like que tengo novia toxica. The person that put it, the guy like kind of putting it as a badge, like, yeah, I got a toxica girlfriend, and also the fact, like, shoot, like you probably can identify that your novia is toxica, but you're probably even more toxico than she is, you know?
Putting that sticker on your car does
yeah.
make you toxic.
No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guarantee he didn't put it on. She's so toxic.
yeah,
She
that-
put it on.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Like,
really
don't mess with me.
a beware of dog sign.
Yeah.
That's really what that is.
Well, technically, yeah.
Exactly.
And then he had no idea.
Read between the lines.
Yeah, for real.
He had no idea it was put on there. He saw it one day. He's like,
Yeah.
do I take it off or do I risk getting my tires slashed?
Right.
He's like, I guess I'll just keep it on.
yeah.
You
I
know?
like
Yeah.
my life. I don't want my brake lines cut.
Yeah. I guess, you know, if you live in the hood, that's like your security blanket.
Exactly, yeah.
Dang.
Mess with me, you mess with my toxic girl.
That is
Jeez.
true.
But I feel like I hear that more now in our Latino culture, more than any other culture out there. You know?
Yeah.
But like, I hear it I hear it more and like as a badge of honor. Like you're saying, like a positive
Yeah.
thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, I'm so cute. Like, I'm a toxic guy. Shut your mouth. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. You
Just
know?
tell us you don't have a backbone. That's it.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because I mean, like, you know, we're toxic with each other sometimes.
no,
but-
we're not toxic with each other. Fool. Jeez. We're more than that.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're hazardous to each other.
Yeah.
Not just toxic.
But yeah, so kind of what we put
But I love
together.
that kind of pain.
Yeah. Then you're toxico. But what we put together for this episode to try and identify what's toxic and not toxic out there is we compiled a list of some of the most toxic sayings, and we're going to go over them, have our input in them, and agree or disagree if they're toxic.
Bring him
So-
on, buddy.
So if y'all disagree, then y'all toxic. We'll see who's.
Also, in the comments, throw in your suggestions, throw in
Yeah.
your thoughts on it. I want to
Yeah.
hear other people how
Yeah,
they
yeah.
feel about them.
For sure.
Let's see.
All right.
Shoot me the first one.
All right.
Give me a good one.
Let's see.
The second one's already good.
All right. Let's see which one should we start with. Okay, this one I think I hear that
Oh,
often.
yeah.
But in Spanish it says es mejor pedir perdón que permiso. So
Yeah.
it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So when people put that out there, what's your first thought?
Sneaky, man. You're sneaky. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you want to, you'll put like trust into this, you know,
Mhm.
like the thought of trust into this one,
Mhm.
because it's like, you don't ask me or tell me about it, and then you just do it and just expect me to forgive you. You know, that's toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's manipulative.
Of course, yeah,
that's what
definitely
it is.
manipulative, you know.
Mhm.
And then I think it's like, let's just say, for example, for us men who are in our faith or whatever, it's like we kind of have to forgive, right?
Yeah.
So like, do you think that would be like a thing? Like they'll take advantage of
Yeah.
that and be like, no, I'm gonna do it to this guy all the time because I know at the end of the day we're
Yeah.
gonna be straight anyways.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Mhm.
But I don't know.
Well, it depends on what it is. Like
Of course,
if
yeah.
you're cheating on your diet, then then it's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
But if
you'll
you're cheating on your girl,
I did it first. No, I'm asking permission.
like you forgave me when I cheated on our diet.
Right.
What's the difference?
I had a cheeseburger on Tuesday, but you can't get over this. Okay. What?
Oh god.
yeah, you gotta extend that same type of forgiveness.
Exactly.
Okay, but maybe not to that extreme.
Yeah.
but
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, there's
I
different
think-
levels to it, right?
right.
So
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. I mean,
Like a
definitely.
white lie.
Have y'all
Yeah.
are guilty of that ever? Legit.
Are you?
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, no. Well, so
Oh shoot.
I feel like I have done it, but that saying doesn't cross my mind.
No.
Yeah.
I just think about it, and I'm like, okay, because I like, especially my wife knows me. Like, I like giving a detailed version of stories of everything,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes I know that maybe doesn't want to hear all of it. She's like, just give me the gist. So sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'll just tell her when I get home or something, you know.
it.
But that saying, it doesn't cross my mind. But yes, there is sometimes, I guess, where you gotta ask for forgiveness.
I mean, there's been times where I did something and then I'm like, I'm just gonna pretend that I didn't know about it when she asked me about it. So I'll be just as surprised as you are.
What?
What an actor!
It
How did
works.
that get there?
Yeah.
Who bought that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
legit.
video of the kid is like, I ordered an Xbox controller.
Yes.
What is
freaking
that?
bong.
It's a bong.
I mean,
I'm 100%
God.
guilty of that, like for sure. But it is what it is. I asked for forgiveness and I was forgiven.
there you go.
But it's not like you think of that saying though, right?
No,
Okay. 'Cause
never cross your mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually forgot about that saying,
Yeah.
but I mean it's true.
That saying I didn't learn until way later, like in life. Like
Yeah.
someone else said it, and I was like, "Damn,
Makes
that's true. I
sense.
should have probably said that or thought about that." But yeah,
All right, let's move on. Yeah, I
All
like
right.
this one.
All right. All right, go for it. Read it.
This one is like just be offensive, right?
Yeah.
It's like the one, it says no offense, but
Oh.
it's like, come on.
yeah.
And then you go
starting
and be
starting a
offensive.
sentence- any sentence that has ever started with that is immediately an offensive
Yeah.
Yeah.
sentence, right?
Yeah.
It's always followed up with
Yeah.
something offensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm guilty of this 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's to let you, like, give you a warning. Like, hey, I'm about to tell you something very offensive, but if you get mad, that's on you, buddy,
Yes.
because I said no offense.
Yeah, exactly.
I cleaned my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I clean my hands.
Yeah, no offense,
Exactly.
but you're an idiot.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I guess you can. I mean, on the ways I use it, it's to say something to somebody that needs to be said, right?
Yeah.
Not being a douche about it.
And that goes to the next saying.
Oh
that,
God.
Someone who says, I'm just brutally honest and I tell it like it is.
But sometimes you don't have to say it how it is.
A lot of times you don't have to say it how it
Yeah.
is.
It's like, I get that's who you are, but then
Yeah.
I just had this conversation with my wife the other day. I was like, people who use that, it's just so funny. People who use that excuse like, oh, it's just the way I am.
Right.
Right? It's like, then don't be like that.
Right.
You can be like that to like your husband,
Sure.
to your family, but like to people you don't know, they're like, it's just the way I am. Like, you can't like be a nice person for one day to one person that you don't know they just met.
Yeah.
So that one really
Those are
gets
toxic
under-
people for sure.
Yes.
But I've also met people who like try to use that term in front of people almost like they want to show off, but they're not really about it because someone important comes into the room. A boss comes into the room all of a sudden. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Where's that? I want
Where's
that
that
same
energy?
energy.
Right.
I want that same energy that you just had
Right.
when you thought they were not in the same room.
Yeah.
So some people do use it and they are offensive and they're just dumb and they just say whatever they want because no one is supposed to live life that way. You're not supposed to say everything that comes into your mind.
Exactly.
Right.
It's not supposed
Jesus,
to be
if
that.
we did.
We'd all be,
We'd be canceled
we would
already.
we would not be married.
Exactly.
We would not be married and we would not be employed. Like plain and simple.
And we'd be throwing blows here. Left and right.
Exactly.
But yeah, that one ties along with this one. That's just the way they are.
Again,
They
you're
tell like it is,
justifying
it's just the way they
somebody's
Actions.
actions
Yeah.
and attitudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of being like, hey, dude, don't act like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, behave.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially, let's just say, like, I bring Hera to, like, a friend's house that's, like, my friend. And I bring him, and then he acts, oh, that's just the way he is. And then I have to be like, oh, that's just the way he is, man.
Yeah. You're justifying his
Exactly.
actions.
It's like, no,
Yeah. You're excusing.
Yeah.
and then I'm the one, you know,
Exactly.
Aiding
taking
and
the blame,
abetting.
eating the blame, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I'm over here not caring, being careless, and you're over there kind of covering up for me. Like, no, I swear he's a good guy.
Yes.
You know, he brings me KFC at 12 o'clock in the morning.
So he'll do that to you too if you let him.
Yeah,
It's just the way he is.
but I think growing up, heard that a lot, definitely in family. Right,
Yeah.
certain family members probably had anger
Latino
issues or
families
something.
use
Yeah.
that and abuse that one.
Yeah.
Exactly, for sure.
That's just how your tío is. That's just how your tía is. That's just how your primo is. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so many times. And it just like you guys said already, it's just justifying bad behavior.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, like where's the accountability
Yeah.
to that? Like, is that how you're always gonna be? Right? Like, I'm sure I've seen some glimpses of hope of you changing, but just because you woke up in a bad mood and you wanted to have your emotions dictate your decisions that day, then they went about it. But
That's the
nah,
way he is, though.
Yeah,
Or
you know?
Yeah.
she. I don't know what you're referring to. I like this one. This is going to stir some pots, which I love.
let's see.
It's because I'm an Aries. And I'm an
Capricorn.
asparagus. What? Like, yo, people who use signs to also justify attitudes and actions, no. You're just... I was gonna say a cuss word. Sorry. You know?
But that's just how you
It's
It's all
are.
right.
No,
You're a
it's-
Cancer,
it's
dude.
how I
Go
am.
for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just because you're an ass to somebody doesn't mean you have to be an ass to somebody.
Yeah.
Because I'm an Aries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All Aries are gonna be like that towards people.
Yeah, they're
Come
gonna
on,
tell it
dude.
how it is.
Get
They're gonna be
outta
honest
here.
with you. And if
Okay.
you
Now I don't want to look it up, but what time frame is that?
I don't know.
Oh.
I
don't
think
know.
that's just referring to like all
Okay,
the
all signs? Okay.
all signs, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the Aries in the
I know.
comments. That's not us. We're the most gentle people.
You're the most toxic.
And canceled.
Cancel me for that. I'll stick my ground on that one. Honestly,
Yeah.
people ask me all the time, like, "What are you?" I'm like, "I'm just Oscar.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
No star in the sky is gonna dictate my attitude towards
Yeah.
people. Because guess what? Today I can act like this, and then in 5 years from now I can be a completely
yeah.
different person.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you stay being the same.
And the
person.
thing is, if, for example, you're looking for somebody's help, like you don't think you're gonna be nice to that person so that they can offer your help. Like,
Absolutely.
hey, More, I need your help, and you're not gonna be like, hey, dude, you're like, you never want to help me, dude. Like, come on, I'm over here,
Yeah.
suffering, and you don't want to help me. But I'm sure he'd be more, heartwarming,
Receptive.
more receptive to it if I
Yeah.
change in that situation and I'm not mean because a certain sign says I'm a certain way, but you change in different ways. When you go to interviews and they ask you like, what are your weaknesses and your strengths? Like sometimes even people on their resumes may like on it, right? Like what you're not gonna you're changing the way
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
are, right? There's a certain version of yourself that you want to be,
Yes.
and maybe you're not there, and that's totally fine.
Sure.
But just because you're not that version doesn't mean that you have to be the complete opposite and be the worst version
Exactly.
Yeah.
of yourself.
And you should change,
Mhm.
right? Everyone needs to change and evolve
Absolutely.
and grow, right? I look back
Agreed.
5 to 7 years ago, I'd be like, I acted like that, and I would talk like that, and
Yeah.
and treat people a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm glad I changed.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm an asparagus; it's because it's who I am.
I've been
You know
getting
what I
Did you say asparagus?
It's because who I am and who I chose to be. I didn't tell no stars tell me how to act. I changed because I wanted to change my attitude. You know what I mean? God, that would just
but-
rouse me
yeah,
up,
yeah.
dude. It just makes me so angry.
I think we need to move on, guys.
Sorry, bro, you're being honest.
I'm being toxic.
Hey, that's just how he is. All right.
Exactly. Thank
Speaking
you.
his mind. All right. All right.
No offense, guys.
but okay, but going back to that saying, like, okay, I've known this guy for more than half my life, and I know he is like an honest person, and
Yeah.
he will tell you, he will be straight up with you about it. But he's not gonna be a jerk about
Sure.
it either, right?
No.
There's ways to be honest and be gentle, right? Like for
Agreed.
example, with my wife, if she asks for my opinion, like, hey, babe, how does this dress look on me? Right? I'm not gonna tell her like you look like a fat hairy Sasquatch. Right? Like, obviously, I'm not.
What dress are you referring to?
Like, I'm not gonna say that. Like,
What is you, a Chewbacca costume? What?
God.
You just
That's not that. This is not how he is, though. Oh my god, that was a left turn, dude.
no, because like you can say like, okay, it doesn't look the best, right? But you don't have to over exaggerate.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
try to say.
Okay,
Like,
okay,
that was an
okay.
exaggeration. That that
I gotcha.
never crossed my
Okay.
mind. I'm just exaggerating to make a point.
for sure.
Oh,
Right?
God.
Yeah, and no, it's true. I mean, you can be honest without crossing the line and being rude, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know what, honey? I think it's probably better you wear this one because it's kind of cold outside
Yeah.
instead of whatever it is. you
Yeah.
know? we know how to.
But if she looks like Sasquatch, she'll be
Yeah.
warm anyways.
Yeah. and
Yeah, honey, you may want to shave your beard before you put that dress on. How about we move on to the next one, fellas? 'Cause
We're being toxic now. Oh god, I love this.
no, but to make a point though, it's to make a point.
Freaking hairy beast.
And it's just you looking at the mirror in the dress on.
We're taking too much time on that, dude. Okay.
this guy.
We have to move. We have
A la
to
otra,
move.
la otra. El siguiente.
Oh, God. Oh, this is a good one.
All right, go for it.
You have to stay with the attitude, though. If you can't take me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
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 All right, who's gonna dive in that one?
Come on, literally next.
It's like saying you can't take me at my
No,
Sasquatch.
Jay-
You don't deserve me at my have my Cinderella or whatever.
Bald eagle. I don't know. That's the only thing that came to mind. Sorry.
Naked mole rat? Dude? I don't know. Okay, sorry. Okay, what do you guys feel about that one? If you can take me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Facts.
Yeah, you're right. Get out.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, I think that one.
Gosh.
I feel like I've heard that more when it comes to dating, right? Like, oh, if that guy can't be comfortable with me being doing this, then like, like I don't need to dress up for him or like.
No, you're right. You're right because it's like you're saying like I'm gonna give you like my worst, basically, willingly,
Yeah.
knowing that I can give you my best at any moment, but I'm not gonna change.
Yeah.
because I still want to be where I'm at. And then later in life, like, oh, I'm at my best now. So
Yeah.
if you can't take me at my worst and you don't deserve my best, like, why didn't you just give your best from the beginning?
Yeah, and I think it doesn't happen because it comes from a place of perhaps being hurt, where at one point you did give your best out there,
Yeah.
and it wasn't received well, and they
Or
just,
when you're lazy, being lazy,
yep,
Oh, that's
be just the excuse right
perfect
there.
segue. The next saying, no seas huevón.
Don't be lazy.
That's true.
but that one was more for like when you're growing up, and because I know last episode, we talked about depression. And how sometimes the parents would be, or just family members, like, oh, no seas huevón, like, go outside, go do something, like, ponte a lavar los trastes, like, don't be in bed just laying around when you don't feel well and you're sick.
No seas huevón.
Yeah, so that's where that saying kind of.
Yeah. I don't really have much experience with that one, to be quite honest with you.
With the
No
one.
seas huevón.
Oh.
Yeah, well, let's say not necessarily saying like don't be lazy, but if they see that you're just laying in bed like the whole day, like, come on, ándale, ponte a recoger tu cuarto, like clean up
Yeah.
your room.
Like, ¿todavía andas
start
ahí?
this. Yeah, you're still there? Like,
Oh
you're
no,
still playing
I would
video
go
games?
work with my dad and put your hands in your pockets for 3 seconds. Los hombres no hagan eso.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
men don't do that. And I'm like,
Stop. Stop.
Like, los hombres no ponen los pantalones, Dad.
I knew that's where you were going, bro. I knew that's where you were going.
so true.
Oh man.
Yeah, no,
I'm
for
sorry,
real.
dude. I cannot see it now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, next one, please.
Next one.
Oh,
All right.
so toxic.
What about when somebody is quote unquote apologizing and they say, I'm sorry you feel that way?
Just don't apologize. Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
But I think there could be a time where that's legitimate, right? Because if someone is just like someone said something to someone that wasn't accurate or true about you, and they're like they built an idea or something about you that was based off, number one, a lie, and off someone versus asking you or coming to the source, and now they just allowed themselves to feel these type of way. And if you come at me and I know what you're saying or how you feel was based on a lie, and they're like, they don't care, I'm gonna be like, bro, I'm sorry you feel that way, but it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I didn't see
there's
that.
that side to
That's
it, for
one
sure.
way to view that,
Okay.
in my opinion, right? And now if it's legitimate, that's not an appropriate
Okay.
way to speak to someone. I mean, I think you can.
I'm glad you brought that up because the way I was seeing it, I was still under the toxic environment of someone saying like, "Well, I'm sorry you feel that way."
Yeah.
Like being
Well,
like,
then there is that way too.
that-
No,
Right.
for sure.
That
Yeah.
attitude, like,
And
oh,
it's a way of gaslighting.
Oh, for
That's how I
Yeah.
see it.
That it's kind of just like disregarding their feelings and
Like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
And again, no sense of accountability,
Yeah.
and perhaps
Agreed.
being manipulative as well.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how I see it.
for sure, bro.
for sure, I see that too.
Yeah, because to you, what would be a sincere way to apologize if you were apologizing to someone? Or anybody?
I don't know.
Jay,
I mean, it wouldn't definitely be with, I'm sorry you feel this way, but but it would be like, hey, look, I'm apologizing for X and Y,
yeah,
right? And that's it. You don't end it with, but, or I'm
Yeah.
sorry I hurt you, or I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I'm apologizing because that's how you feel. In all reality, it really doesn't mean it. It actually erases your apology.
It
Yeah.
feels forced.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just, I'm just sorry you
Like,
feel
I'm
that way.
doing
Like
it.
kind of like if you're complaining about their attitude, right? They just say, "Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way."
Yeah.
It really doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
there's no
to say.
specific thing that you're apologizing for, right?
Yeah.
You're just saying like, "I'm sorry you feel that way." But to me, I feel like a sincere apology will be like, "Hey, I understand that I did this, this, and this, and I'm going to think about it going on forward in our relationship, our connection, and I'll be better about it."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I wasn't aware that it perhaps hurt your feelings.
Yeah,
You know,
but
kind of around that.
if we're talking still about toxic,
Yeah.
it's always like if they say that in that form,
Oh yeah.
it's more like if you tell them, "Hey, like you're being rude," and like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry you feel that way."
Yeah.
You know, like but
Exactly.
giving attitude
For
in that
sure.
sense, then
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
never a good way.
Yeah. I mean, that's just as good as saying I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally by someone saying, "Hey, bro, like I felt like you could approach this better," and you're like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, at that point,
and
yeah.
or when someone says "and,"
yeah,
you know, like,
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah. At
Makes
that
you-
point, I don't think I do my best not to engage in the conversation
Yeah.
any further. I'm like, all right, this guy's not willing to compromise or even hear
no
me out.
question.
They feel like they did no wrong, so why even waste my physical energy on putting
Yeah, because
up
it
with
could
this?
only go one way.
Mhm.
Continuing to argue, you know, it's gonna make you further angry, and you just don't want to go down that rabbit hole if you don't have to, especially
Yeah.
with someone who likely not worth it if
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
approaching you that way, anyways.
Some people are just stuck in their ways and ideas, right? So why even bother?
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know, again, wasting your energy and
Yeah.
your and your mood, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like whenever you deal with those type of people, like it affects you.
Mhm. Oh,
Like
definitely.
it just your whole day is off. You're
it's
like,
drowning.
yeah,
you know, like I
It drains
and
you.
you still think about it, and you're like, oh, I should have said this. I should have said that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's like it just
Exactly.
takes off everything out
Yeah.
of you. So it's like, yeah, when they say "and," it's like, all right,
Yeah.
and we're done.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
And that's
I still think it's important. Kind of going back to like, oh well, that's just the way they are, right? That pointing out or calling them out on what they did, like let your feelings know, like, hey, you did this, and this is how I feel, right? Calling them out on whatever they did because probably think they didn't do anything, and not so much expecting to change their behavior, but at least for them to start reflecting that they did negatively impact somebody with their actions,
sure.
right? Calling it out, just putting it out there appropriately, gently, and then just move away from that person, right? But still, I still think it's important to call it out.
For sure.
Yeah, but not engage in arguing with the person. But all right, let's move on with the next one.
Let's see what
What
else
you
we
got?
got. Let's go with just pray about it. Got to be careful with this one, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, sometimes you just have to pray about it.
Yeah.
Right?
No, for sure. For sure.
That's I don't know. I'll say this. This is my mother-in-law. It's like this is her favorite saying. It's just pray about it. And I'm not saying the same, but it's her favorite advice, and I think it's her best advice.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
for sure.
To just pray about it, because people who say, like, let's just say I tell somebody just pray about it, like I know they're not gonna pray about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're still gonna be in the same situation they're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like if someone was to tell me just pray about it, and I actually pray about it, and I see a change in it, then I'd be like, oh, cool, prayer worked,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I see it in that aspect, that positive aspect, and we're like, yeah, just pray about it. But then also it can be just like, I don't want to deal with you, just pray about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but even so, I still don't see it as a toxic trait.
No, I don't think I see it as a toxic trait at all.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing toxic about it. You know, either you pray about it or you don't. It's
No
either
matter
genuine or
how
not.
they tell you,
Mm-hmm.
it's still good advice.
It's
Yeah.
great advice,
So
of course. And you know, to people who have been told just pray about it, did you actually pray about it,
Mm-hmm.
or did you say you did?
What about if somebody, let's say you're a parent, somebody comes to you and says like, oh, like I've dealt with this like sexual abuse or this abuse by my man, he's beating me up, I don't know what to do, I'm depressed about it, like I'm taking these medicines and all this stuff, and they're coming to you for help. And you hit them with the just pray about it.
Other things that can be also. I wouldn't say this now. I'm glad they cut in my mouth.
Yeah. More.
It totally comes off insensitive
Yeah.
and inappropriate in that
In that
situation,
situation,
in that particular situation. Because first of all, if this person, if you're gonna tell them, they may not, if they were gonna just pray about it, if that's all the advice they needed, then they would have done it already.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going to you, it's because they're like, okay, just like God put doctors on the world, so when we're physically sick, we go see the doctor.
Yep.
Even though we know we can pray about it, we still go see a doctor.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Because God gave us education and intelligence to use that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For humanity's benefit.
Exactly.
And so in that regard, now I need to use the information I'm being given and help them. Either I need to call someone if I'm if I'm not capable, if I don't have what it takes. I mean, number one, I'm going to be very sensitive in that situation. I'm not going to just be like, all right, bro, you should just go pray about it.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, I'm going to, just talk them through it as best I can with what limited knowledge I have, and try to encourage them in the best way I can. And then, if I feel like maybe they would benefit from speaking to a professional about it,
Mm-hmm.
then I would definitely suggest that, while I actively, am on them. Hey, I'll
Exactly.
text you. I'll call
Mhm.
you every day and
Yep.
make sure I'm riding with you all the way through it.
Yep.
In that situation, I think it would be insensitive to say, hey,
Yeah.
because the Bible says it's just like if someone comes up to you and is like, hey, I don't have any money to pay for my bills, and I don't know how, and you have the resources, and
the
you're like, all right, go
resources.
pray about it.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In that case, you're not satisfying the need when you have the ability to be a blessing or be the bridge for that gap.
And to add to that, maybe they did pray about it, and their prayers led them to you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's now you having to be a blessing
Yeah.
for that
Absolutely.
person. Yeah. But that's spot on with Mar. Got anything you want to say on that one?
No, you guys are good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I think, like, if I were to give advice, right, I would mention prayer, because I think having a prayer life
Absolutely.
is absolutely
No question.
important, especially when it comes down to making difficult decisions, right? It's very
Life-changing
important
decisions,
to be in the right attitude, be in the right mindset. And to me, what better way than having a one-on-one conversation with God about it? But just like a seed needs to be watered daily for it to grow,
Yeah.
right? It's not just going to take one prayer to supernaturally fix all the bad decisions that you've done perhaps in your life, right?
For sure.
But it will have you start reflecting on your heart and seeing what's inside of it, and what stuff needs to be cleaned up inside there, and what stuff you're going to allow God to come into your heart to fix, so that you can appropriately fix your situation
For
moving
sure.
forward.
And if you don't know how to pray at all, I mean, I think another thing is praying with them.
That's
you know?
important.
I
Yeah.
think praying with them is going to give them that extra confidence and boost, to feel hope. You know what I'm saying? And like not feel like, oh, like you just brushed me away to go do a prayer when I don't know what to say or how to start or what to do. I think some people just need that extra.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say guidance, but like
Support.
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 Yeah, the extra
Being
support.
the guidance, the example set for them.
They need someone to take that step with them. And I think it's important too.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because I think, like, if you're a parent, and your kid sees that you're praying every day, then it's most likely that if they're dealing with a difficult situation, whatever it may be, that they're also going to be praying about it, and you don't necessarily have to be given that advice like, well, we'll just pray about it if
Yeah.
they come forward with a difficult situation.
Yeah.
In relationships, when people say you complete me, they feel like their significant other completes them.
Is that a toxic trait though?
Well, these are like toxic sayings, like traits, like what people sometimes think. So that's why we're.
I think in this sense, the toxic situation in this will be, let's just say, a young man depends on another young woman to, I guess, succeed in life, right? To do something. It's like, I can't do it without you. Like, you complete me, you know? So you put yourself dependent on somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right? Knowing that
codependency.
you can get it yourself or do it yourself, but then you use that excuse like, no, I can't do this without you. Like, I need you, and you're like 13. You know what I'm saying? So I think in a sense that could be a little toxic. I think it depends on the on the person,
Yeah.
and I think the maturity in it too.
Yeah,
Sure.
You know? So
for sure. Hey, what do you think, Mar?
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, I mean, that's not something I don't think I've ever used those words ever.
You didn't say that to me.
Oh, same thing.
Except for no.
Let's have more history.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find relatability.
Appropriate relatability.
Yeah.
I'll pray about it.
Yeah. I'll pray about that one. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we shouldn't ever feel like you can't do anything in life. Now, I mean, I'm in a relationship with the woman that's meant for me. So would I want to do life without her? Never, not for a second,
Yeah.
right? But could I do life without her? Yes, of course I could. You know, I would be deeply depressed and I would miss her to the end of the world, right? But if I needed to move on, I still have things to look forward to. Number one, my own life, and number two, my boys to live for and push forward to, right? So in that regard, I would like still move on.
For sure.
You know, I wouldn't just stop life and then like let that affect my boys because I just can't move on, you know?
Yeah.
No,
For
you're
sure.
right. I think this saying I would probably put in the category of like dating.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't put it in a marriage.
I think it's
aspect.
more appropriate in that.
Yeah, because marriage is like, again, like my wife does complete me.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
a sense, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I think in this case, it's the difference between being codependent and interdependent.
for sure.
Because like how you mentioned initially, if you feel like you can't do anything in life without your significant other, you're completely codependent. It can come to the point where if they ever say something or do something that disappoints you, that your whole identity is revolved around the other person.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think that's where obsession comes in. You know, and then that's where things get really toxic, right?
Yeah.
Because then that person is willing to do anything, whether it's hurt you, themselves, or somebody else.
Yep. To keep the relationship going, even though it's not suitable
Right.
for you.
Right.
Dang, I
And
can see
you
it.
Valid.
know, it's just having that completion, right?
Yeah.
It's just without that other person, you know, life isn't worth it, right?
Gotcha.
So that also leads to like suicide and stuff
Yeah.
too. So
For sure.
That's good.
Damn.
Well, it's just with any of this, right? There can be a dark side to it. Sometimes, like I mentioned, they're just
Yeah, they
kinda
really
tossed
can
around.
be used both ways. There can be a positive to some of those sayings, although some of them are like, nah, you don't ever say that. But but then some
You
of them,
complete me.
right. My wife would leave me if I said that.
She's like, I thought I married a man.
yeah, exactly.
I meant to say complete my plate.
Mendigos tóxicos.
Oh god. Oh man. Yeah, I think this is a topic that, I mean, it should be spoken about, right? Because it's part of the culture nowadays, and I think it's gonna affect further generations, right? Like your boys are in the dating scene now. It's like
Yeah,
it's probably different than when we were in
for
it.
sure.
You know, or when you were in it, you know what I'm saying? So I think just having that in mind, that like being able to distinguish like these types of traits can be very important for their love life in the future, right?
Yeah. Here's a question for y'all. Is there any toxic traits that you guys may have had and overcame them? Maybe not realizing at the time they were toxic, or maybe you did realize they were toxic.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Way before my wife, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in
This is in the dating scene.
yeah.
Teen,
Oh,
teen
really?
years.
Okay.
Definitely just, yeah.
You were the
lying,
you complete me type? Or?
Literally just
No,
lying.
he's the more like this is the way I am.
Oh yeah. Accept me the way I am.
I could just lie to all of their faces, and they just ate it up, you know. And I just lived. I was like 5 girls' boyfriends, and never just.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like I'm talking my teen years, bro. So
Yeah.
you know,
Jeez.
way removed, and it was just like so easy, like just to lie to them and pretend I had feelings for each and every one of them, and literally go like extended periods of time within all of the relationships at the same time, and just
Damn.
not bat an eye, never mix up a name. Never cross lies. Like even when sometimes there were situations where more than one of them were in the same place at the same time, just made it work.
Dang,
So what part
bro.
of that was toxic? I'm just kidding.
He's like, that's the dream life.
I was
It's a
gonna
dream
say-
single man's life.
I was gonna say 5 girls. That's a lot of telegrams, dog. That's a lot of-
Damn.
It was a lot of.
I was thinking of
handwriting.
the application telegram, but you're
and
talking
mailing.
physical.
Actually-
Yeah.
That's a lot of horseback riding.
I think we're gonna go as far as like Morse code, bro.
Right.
No, it's a lot of like guys on a burro
Yeah.
across the desert.
Horseback ride. I'm thinking like the British are
So
coming.
yeah, I mean, that was not good.
She's
you know?
coming. She's coming.
Right.
God,
What about
man. Toxic trait?
you, Mr. Toxico himself?
Nah, to get out of here. I'm an angel. I pray about it. No, I
His prayers
think
were never answered.
I'm still
For a
praying about
reason.
it. I'm still praying about it. No, I think a big one for me, even in my marriage, was pride. Was my big toxic trait. Pride, and thinking
that's
that
huge.
I was never wrong, even when I was wrong.
That's what I was literally gonna say too.
About me?
No, not about you. About
Oh,
me.
I was no, like even to the point where like I had trouble like even apologizing. You know, because I'm like, no, I'm right. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't like victim shame, but like I would just word it and we're like, nah, like I'm the one that's right. You know, even though
Yeah.
I probably wasn't, and I still am not. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's something that I really worked on. That's something that I've really changed that I would never go back to. Exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I think. Other than that, I think I'm perfect, right, babe?
His toxic trait is buying shoes when he feels sad.
That is. I mean, that's just. That's.
Damn.
Yeah, that's depressing shopping, dude, right there.
Actually, now that you said that,
Oh.
Uh-oh.
I did think of one that I did have during marriage, and it was the not asking for permission, because I bought one time I bought a jet ski,
Oh, yeah.
came home with it, 10 racks, and
But what goes through your mind buying a jet ski? Like, I'm just gonna pull up to the house.
She's gonna love it.
Yeah.
She's gonna love it.
the way my thought process was, I can make her like it too. I just got to get her to the lake, show her that the boys will love it too, that we'll have fun on this as a family, which I wasn't wrong. I mean, I still got eviscerated verbally,
Yeah.
but once we made it out there, oh, it was so worth it. I know, right, honey? That's why I'm
Did
gonna
you tell her you're welcome?
You're welcome.
Exactly. No. But you know, I was grateful that I made it past that, and then I went ahead and about 6 years later, I bought a motorcycle the same way. Didn't consult, just
You're a wild man.
got it and came home with it. That one took a while to smooth over.
Yeah.
Needless to say,
Yeah.
because there was no way I can be like, "Oh, the family will have fun on my
Yeah.
motorcycle."
There's only so much smooth talk and charisma
Yeah.
you can have.
And that that was rough.
Damn.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, for me, it's the same as Castro was saying. Was a part that being prideful, but over like small things, like I couldn't be wrong. about. Sometimes tend to be a little OCD about things, and like you have to win every battle.
Yeah.
Right. But then other times when I was wrong, like I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm wrong, I'm sorry about it, right? But every time I knew she was wrong, I would always make it a point to talk about the defects, the flaws, and everything. But
sure.
as soon as it was about me, I became fragile about it. So yeah, it just required being compassionate, having the right communication, and being on board with certain things, and most importantly, having the right values. If we said that respect was going to be a big value of our relationship, then I need to make sure that in every decision, every talk that we have, that I'm showing respect and I'm not being obnoxious about it. Because that's really how I came across it. Like one time, it was just like a silly thing. Where my wife said she couldn't get to the car wash, the like at the Shell stations where they just kind of wash itself, because you know how sometimes they have those little lift things on the side, and it pulls your car forward. Yeah. But she went to one where I knew it didn't have that, and she was like, "Yeah, like it didn't pull me forward." But she probably got confused. Like you can just pull up, right? But I just for like 15 minutes on the car. Just talking, I was just being obnoxious about it. Like, what do you mean? Like, I've been there so many times, and you can just pull up and then drive away, and that's it. But I couldn't let it go, right? But then, and then I made her cry, and I feel so bad about it. I'm like, man, like, why can't I just let this go? Like, this doesn't even matter. It's just getting a car wash, you know. But it's just very little things like that, right? But like, no, but that was like initial stages kind of are like you know. So then I was like, you know what, babe, I'm sorry, like I shouldn't have done that, and now we don't argue about car washes.
Now you take the car to get a car wash.
Take the car wash, yeah. But
that's right. When you want something done, you do it yourself.
Yeah, right.
You ain't gotta argue about it.
Oh man.
No, but
talk about
just
toxic saying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's definitely another
that's
one.
The truth.
But yeah. Then I reflected on it, and it's just about teamwork, because there's gonna be some times that I'm gonna forget, and it has happened where I thought I made reservations for a certain day.
Yeah.
And we show up, and it wasn't that day; it was the day after.
Damn.
But lo and behold, if there was the other person doing it, like I would have. It would have
been a big deal.
A big deal about it, and I'm like, okay, I can't be doing that. So yeah, just through reflection and communication.
Growth, right?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
I have a few, man. One is
Let's start.
saying jokes in the wrong time. Like right now.
That was a little appropriate, though.
But you know,
it did fit.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where it's like sometimes I'm like, I shouldn't say it, and I do. I'm like, oh, I just had to say it.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Sorry to cut you off there, man.
You're good.
But I didn't see it as a toxic trait, but I do that all the time.
When there's like a big elephant in the room, and then you just
I
make
point
it a
out that
point.
elephant, and I'm gonna crack jokes on that big elephant, that Sasquatch in the room. You know what I mean? And I'm just gonna say it because someone needs to say it too. I do it because I think it needs to like live up the
Right.
place.
It breaks
It breaks the ice. I'm like, I'm just gonna point it out, right? Like, hey, buddy, like something about you right now, just to light up the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trust me, I didn't say the toxic trait, but I guess that is one. Sorry.
Yeah. Now, as you guys were saying, I'm like, okay, those are kind of some that I could relate to. So I was like, okay, let me think about the other ones I have, you know?
Yeah.
Because pride is always going to be one, I think, especially as men. I've always struggled with my pride, which kind of goes to apologizing. I've always had a problem apologizing. To this day, I'm still working on it. But it's something that I've struggled with, and not that I don't do it, but sometimes it takes a lot.
Yeah.
And I also need time to think about, I'm apologizing because I really mean it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologize because I just want to get past this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, in a sense, it could be pride that keeps me from apologizing. But then once I pass that pride point, then it's like, okay, I need to apologize for this, and how am I going to do this?
Yes. Doesn't it feel sometimes physically impossible to even say I'm sorry?
Yeah.
To come out of your mouth. Like I felt that before. Like I can't even like. I couldn't even.
Yeah.
Couldn't even say it.
Muster the word.
Dude, I was just like, it was insane. I was like, am I that prideful in this situation?
But then you also gotta have a reason why you're apologizing. It's not like they just want you to apologize.
Yeah.
No matter who it is, they want to know also why are you apologizing?
Yes,
because you
exactly.
obviously fought me from the beginning on this. Why all of a sudden you're looking at things differently and apologizing?
And there's
now?
that follow-up question, why are you sorry?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I don't know.
Well, I thought that was like the way you're supposed to do this.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a couple days now. You know,
Yeah. And I think a toxic trait is over apologizing too. People just kind of saying sorry all the time
about everything.
About everything. Yeah. But,
Well, that goes to what he just said, right? It's apologize in that situation. I feel like it would be you're apologizing just to get on with it and make her try to get over it, and then the more times you do that, the less and less it becomes meaningful to her, right?
Yep.
Because you can get away with apologizing quickly, and if you don't go down that road again, your word is still going to be taken, like, because you know what, he apologized and he never went back to that.
Yep.
But if you apologize and just go right back to it, then guess what? What you just said was now you now invalidated that apology. And so to his point, it's got to be meaningful. Sure. Not that it has to take time, because I do feel there is also something that has to do with man's pride. And I know this because I dealt with anger for a long time. And I would just like never go off on her, but I would just shut up and not say nothing for days.
Silent treatment.
Yep. Just days, and and then I realized, when I got to a point where I wanted communication to be our biggest key point in our relationship. For me, then I transitioned to, I'm not going to waste 3 days being mad when I'm going to apologize to her anyways.
Right.
So as long as I can recognize what I'm sorry for and mean it, and then do my best to not circle back to that and why I had to go through that whole apology again, then we're good.
Yeah.
And so I am almost every little argument or big argument that we're in, I'm almost already like, nah, like, Mar, why did you do this? What led to this? Okay, you know what? Hey, honey, you know what? My bad. I'm sorry. Look her in her eyes and I tell her I'm sorry, and I would do my best to not go back to that.
Right.
I had to get that.
I realized that too, because it wasn't just like my wife, but other people have told me, like even my brother has said, dude, like it's hard for you to say sorry, huh? And I've never really like comprehended that.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I was doing that to my daughter. I was having a hard time apologizing to her. And I'm like, how do I not apologize to my own kid?
For sure.
If I want her to be able to apologize, and I started seeing that she had a hard time apologizing, I'm like, bro, how hard is it to say you're sorry?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, as I'm saying it, I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh my God, like that's me.
Yeah.
Like she's getting that from me. So I'm like, regardless of how it is, I have to apologize, even if she is, 3 months old.
Yeah.
It's just something I had to do, and I still work on it, and it's still work, but that's part of life, right? You're still growing. Another trait, not to drag this on, but
No, I want to hear all
another
yours.
one is I've worked on it, and I think I've got it down pretty good. Is not to tell my kid because I said so.
Oh.
That
Snap.
I never understood that as a kid.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, not to put my dad on blast, but dad,
Yeah.
that was his answer to everything. And that was to stop asking. I don't have to give you an answer.
Yeah.
And it dies here. And I never understood it. And so a lot of things that he would say because I said so, I would do it.
Yeah.
Because there was never an answer. There was never a reason. And then I realized that I started doing that to my own kid. And then I started asking myself, why am I telling her no? She's going to wonder why, or she's just going to do it behind my back.
Yeah.
But it became a habit. Everything was because I said so, because, I'm the man of the house, because I'm your father, whatever it is. And not realizing that was something that I hated that my dad did to us. and I'm doing it to my own kid. So that was something that I had to, once I realized that, I had to nip it in the bud and say, this is it. I'm not going to do this no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it all relates to, because I said so and apologizing. That's my dirt.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's more under there.
No. Okay,
No.
maybe.
Yeah, Oscar will bring it out for sure.
Oh, for
How
sure. And then I'll
toxic he
call
is.
it out. No, I will never do that. Not to you, Jacob. I'm scared of you. Yeah, I think you're right. It's because I said so is a big one too for me. I've learned to really explain to my kids why. It's like, oh, why can't I stick a fork inside an outlet? Oh,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if you do that, you're probably gonna get electrocuted, and we have to go to the hospital.
If they survive at all.
Exactly. Or like, why can't I do this? Because if you do that, the possibility of you falling down, hitting your head,
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
hurt is there.
Yeah.
Not because I said so. It's because because I already see you falling and
Yeah.
getting hurt.
Yeah.
So,
But I think it all comes down to being rational about it too. Like if they're saying you, why not? Like don't over exaggerate it. Like because you're gonna fall, split your head, and you have to go to the ER and like
sometimes
make it
it's
traumatic.
needed.
Yeah.
Sometimes
No,
it's
well,
needed.
if it's a dangerous situation.
Of course, yes. I'm not like, hey,
It's
don't
just
run
a
with
simple
crayons
answer.
because you're gonna fall, stab your eye with the crayon, then your eyes gonna turn red forever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It was rare, especially in Latinos families, where you get an answer. Like sometimes you will. They'll tell you,
Yeah.
you know, te vas a caer. No hagas eso porque te vas a caer. And then you fall. Te dije, you know.
Te dije que no hicieras eso.
¿Quieres llorar?
Yeah.
Para que se te quite. Para que se te quite. That's a big one. That was a big one for my mom. God.
Yeah.
Dang.
And but a lot of times in our families it was like, nah, you just get don't do that, you know. And then you'd be like, but why? Because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
And then you knew that if you asked one more time, it wasn't gonna be a don't do that. It was gonna be whoosh.
Let me show you why
Butt
not.
whooping.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you why. Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
I feel it. I mean, yeah, I think it's something that we have to definitely, as this new generation improve and change the ways we get to speak to our children and really show them the good example of what not to do in the sense
Yeah.
of toxic traits to our children. That way
Yeah.
they can grow up and be like, okay, I didn't see my dad do that or my mom do that, so I'm not going to do that.
For sure.
You know, I think also explain to them when they get to an age, explain to them like, hey, like if you go down this route or act like this are possibilities that could happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then not just give them options, but give them just a scenario of like, oh, okay, I'm going to avoid this toxic route.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's very true because I mean, I know Alina's gonna get older. Your boys are the same age where they're gonna start, or if they already started dating, these are certain things that they're picking up and realizing this isn't a good trait. Most likely, it could be toxic for myself or
Yeah.
for them, and how to handle it.
Yeah.
Rather than I was just told because I said so,
Exactly.
but there was an explanation behind
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Following up, okay, this is toxic, and this is the reason why it's toxic. I'm not going to be in the situation, or I won't be this way myself.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's explaining the consequences to it, right? Whatever that you do, there's certain risks involved, and there's going to be good consequences, and there's going to be bad consequences. And I think there is a way to exhort your authority, and at the same time still provide security for your family. And I think that's what's important, right, when discussing these toxic traits.
And that's a great way to end this
Yeah.
with that thought.
All right.
So,
But yeah, let us know if there's any
Yes.
other toxic sayings, toxic traits you see out there. Engage in this conversation.
for sure.
Let us know if you disagree
Like.
with some stuff.
Subscribe, follow, and always
Share your toxic traits.
and pray about it.
Pray about it.
There you go. There you go.
Peace.
Love you.